I am here in San Francisco, California, near the airport, and I am just about to meet the next generation all-electric BMW. It's called iNext. They are flying it around this week for their launch. They're stopping at 4 different cities around the world, and I'm just about to take a look at it. I'm going to tell you everything I know about it, all of the little details and nuances. Going to show you some footage. All of this is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
If this is your first time here and you are interested in staying up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, well, you came to the right place. Just go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. And of course, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by iNext, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so go ahead and grab it so you can save yourselves a few bucks. All right, well, so I'm here in San Francisco, and this car, the iNext, this is essentially the next generation of electric cars for BMW. Now, they're not going in production anytime soon. Essentially, it's going to be 2021, but they have unveiled this prototype, this concept car, though they're saying the exterior is about 80% done or so, and they also just wanted to tell us what the future, the electric future, as far as BMW sees, is going to be. Now, as far as the exterior is concerned, I'm kind of, I 70% love it, 30% hate it, and let me know in the comment section what you guys think. The front logo, the butt front, or the front butt, as I call it, it's definitely something that I hope that they change. Now, from what I understand, there's a LiDAR and a few radars and other sensors, kind of all jammed up in there, so they had to work around that. But to be honest with you, as a customer, I don't really care. I think I want that mean look of the BMW front. Now, I think the rest of it, they did a really, really good job, and I hope they can kind of incorporate the technology with the design a little bit better. Obviously, the neon accents, I think, as we've seen with other prototypes from Mercedes-Benz and others, usually they end up removing it once they go in production. That's what I kind of expect from this one, but I definitely hope they kind of rethink that part. And I also not a big fan of those still leftover design concepts from the i3, and I don't think you guys, really I'm hiding it from anybody. I absolutely hate the design and the look of i3, and the fact that there's anything in this car that reminds me of that is I hope they really get rid of it. As you can see, the lines that go through the windows, right? The windows that kind of go up and down, kind of creating almost like a sandwich effect. I really don't know how to describe it. Now, the whole concept that I think BMW had pioneered a while back is that the car should look like it's in motion while it's standing still. And obviously you need to have kind of continuous lines, right, to show how the air is flowing through the car. And obviously these lines are kind of broken by this kind of a weird line, weird curve that goes from on the bottom and on the top. So I hope they change that, though. They seem to kind of like it themselves, and I was talking to them, but who knows. Overall, the car is pretty big. It's pretty much a full-size SUV, so I like the look, and I really, really like the back, that's for sure. So again, if they can change those couple of things, I would be totally in love with this car. I definitely would really, really gonna like it. Now, let's talk about the interior, and this is where I was kind of surprised, because for me, the advantage that companies like Mercedes and BMWs would have over Tesla would be their luxury look and luxury interior. And they actually went in the kind of a Model 3 design look, very, very simple. The dashboard almost reminds me of Model 3, except for there are 2 monitors. They also went from the contemporary, almost IKEA-like inside, where it's very simple. And again, I think people would probably, especially people in the age group that will be able to afford this car, would probably want something a little bit more luxurious and maybe use of leather and so forth. And this one was kind of a contemporary, simple. Once again, let me know what you guys think. Now, there are a couple of things that I thought were very interesting. They have this concept of user experience besides touchscreen monitors and voice commands. is that you should be able to touch almost anything around you, and it should be able to kind of react and take your commands. So they have this smart material where you can basically draw things on it and therefore give commands to the car. And they also have this projector that can project on any surface, any part of the car or even yourself, to project whatever controls or displays or pictures that you would need. Now, I think it's very neat. I think it's a very interesting technology. However, I think it's going to be kind of a moot point, almost useless, if you will. Like, I think people don't like to interact or are not used to interact with your furniture, really, and they kind of prefer to have their screens wherever those screens already are installed. And it's kind of hard to find a relatively large flat surface anywhere in a car anyway to project a screen. So again, as cool as those concepts are, I think they are, I hope they're not going to actually make it to the market unless they kind of think a little bit more through it. And the material that they end up using on the seats looks just it looks like a very old furniture that was made in suede originally. It was just really used up and had all kinds of spills on it. I know it has some sort of interesting vintage cool look, but I don't think that's what people are looking for in their car. So I really hope they kind of cut that concept out and replace it with just much nicer upholstery that I think most BMW luxury car drivers are kind of used to. Now, but other than that, there are quite a few interesting concepts that I think they're moving in the right direction of kind of a future rather than kind of a redoing a car that they already have, and kind of leaving a lot of concepts in there. So, now let's talk about the battery. Now, obviously it's 3 years away, and they're claiming EPA range probably around 280, 300 miles. Now, you can ask yourself whether it's going to be relevant by then. I think that should still be relevant to have that range. But the interesting part is, even though they have a couple of partners to make the batteries, including CATL, they're actually not letting them design the batteries. The design is actually going to come from BMW. And that's a pretty daring move, if you ask me, because on one hand, you have this battery producers really, and you're telling them, don't never mind the design. We'll do it, and you guys just kind of produce the battery. Now, they were a little bit kind of tight-lipped as far as when I was kind of really questioning them about, how is this going to work. But nevertheless, it does look like they're going to be designing their own batteries. Now, I think it's a good thing. I think it's great. I mean, this is essentially how you get the competitive advantage over your competition, because, if everyone's using LG Cam batteries or Samsung batteries, then there's no competitive advantage over other brands. But here, if you are designing your own batteries, and who else? Obviously, your engineers know better how it integrates with the rest of your car. Well, then you can gain some competitive advantage, and not only in maybe range and density, but also in price points, and because what your kind of financial milestones and goals are for the cost of the car. So I thought it was kind of cool as well. Now, this whole flying around the world like a rock star tour is definitely an interesting concept, and I kind of enjoyed it. It's very different than what usually happens at the media events. Now, we obviously, this is the month when Audi is unveiling their e-tron SUV, all-electric SUV, and Mercedes just unveiled their EQC SUV as well. So this is kind of maybe an attempt by BMW to kind of remind us that they're right behind them, but they are behind them. Obviously, e-tron is in production now, and Mercedes is going to start their production in next year, where the BMW iNext will have to wait until 2021. Nevertheless, again, Tesla had dragged everybody into this race, and it's good to see that BMW is actually, I shouldn't say entering, it's staying in it, right? Obviously, the BMW i3 and i8 and a few other plug-in hybrids that, I'm not really that excited about per se. Obviously, they've been doing it for a while, but it looks like they're upping the stakes for themselves, and that's really good to see. All right, guys, well, I would love to hear your comments about the design, the tech, and anything else that you maybe I haven't covered yet, but it's probably because they haven't given us information. This is very early stages for this car. All right, let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.